Doing outstanding. 3:33 on this October 3rd, Thursday. I don't have my charts. Just going to rant really quick. It's been a kind of another choppy session similar to yesterday's, um, which is obviously not the best for premiums on options. We'll see how things all play out. We have the big jobs report tomorrow. All eyes are on that, and then geopolitical situation and tensions. I'm sure there's going to be something over the weekend. It seems like we've had these events in the past. Um, Ukraine and Russia, the time the Russian, I forget what his name, there was an uprising in Russia. They were headed towards Moscow. Like there's all these events that all of a sudden folks are like, oh, futures are going to tank on Monday, and then everything kind of resolves itself. And sure enough, it's probably going to happen again this week, and there'll be some kind of thing again with Israel and Iran. Hopefully, it doesn't escalate or just roll over to something entirely worse. And yeah, so we'll see how things all play out here. The SPY all the way down. It didn't test yesterday's lows. Yesterday low on the SPY is 565.29. We hit 565.49, I believe. Then bounced back up at 1 o'clock. Back quick bounce, $2 bounce up back up to 567.50, and we've been chopping here ever since. Yeah, kind of. I guess considering what happened 2 days ago, I mean the S&P now is down about 1% for the week. I guess, and considering we're at all-time highs, to chalk it up to something like consolidation, it's actually not bad considering all the other things going on, right? With the port strike and uh, the Hurricane Helene and all that, all the headlines that should strike fear into markets, right? So just individual names and sitting here watching Wynn just tested 103. It was about this time yesterday where Wynn broke through 101 or whatever, just took off. Hopefully it takes off 103 and goes to 104, and I can lock the rest of my 105s in. They're back in the green. My 115s for October 18th are looking solid. Those are over double or close to a double. I got to take a look in a second. Great sign here, and I call it the boomerang. But it's like people were waiting for a dip on Wynn, and they're just gobbling it up today. Slow, meticulous melt to the upside. Uh, wouldn't be surprised to see it over 105 tomorrow. So great setup there. On the flip side here is Baidu, and Baidu's pretty much flatlined since 11 o'clock. It's been stuck between 109.50 and 110.50 pretty much since 10:30 or 11 once it bounced up to 110. I was possibly looking for some strikes, but I'll probably just sit on my hands. Who knows what's going to happen with the Hang Seng overnight? Another 1 or 2% down day, and Baidu will be down at 105. Flip it around, and Hang Seng's up 2% overnight. Baidu could be back at 117. I'm not going to flip a coin on that. It's been a good one, monster trade this week. I'll just when I have a little more conviction, I'll look to get some strikes there. Roku got I don't know if they upgraded the price target. Macri, however you pronounce them, it just hit the wire before. It says they've raised their price target to 90 from 75. Kept their outperform rating. It seems like it's just a parade of analysts just keep raising or upgrading the stock over the last couple of weeks. I'm surprised it really hasn't gotten a bid. We had that upgrade yesterday from sell to neutral. There's J.P. Morgan 2 weeks ago. You had Citigroup, B of A Securities, and then the big one. Who was the big one that did it? Was it Needham, Benchmark? I'm trying to think the one. Wolf Research, Wells Fargo. Just in September, it seems like it's upgrade month for Roku, and the stock really hasn't done too much besides that move. I think at September option expiration. Still lying some calls here. It's a frustrating name because every time it seems like it wants to run out of the gate, it fades and sells off. Today's a different story. It opened lower and it's been headed higher ever since. Just hit highs a little while ago. Won't be surprised to see highs into close. I'll wait till tomorrow as well, just because jobs report could be a binary event. And with the jobs report, my thought, or at least what I think would happen if it's in line or a little hotter than expected, I think that's fine. I think that'll bode well. Fed can remain on course. On the flip side, I think if it's a weak jobs report, then you're going to have that R word start floating around once again, and we might get a gap down. And even though that might make the market price in another jumbo cut at the November meeting, it probably is a sell off and then maybe a buyable bounce. So we'll see what happens here tomorrow. Obviously, it's going to be a much looked at data point, and then next week we have earnings season. So I can't wait for earnings season, my favorite time of the year. As we head into the last quarter, which is phenomenal. So that's Roku, Baidu, Wynn, Corbis not doing anything here, just flat. I mean, it's barely green, up 3 cents. It's over $20. That's it. That's a good thing. Redfin all the way down to 1078, but it's fine here. It's only down 9 cents on the day now. So if Redfin can get a bid into the close, could close green today, which again, higher highs, higher lows until that changes. I think that bodes well. So AMD, I put on the watch list this morning. They have their event a week from today. I don't know what time it starts. 10 a.m. It's probably Pacific time, so maybe it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. Uh, the it was starting to run out of the gate. It was 161. The video was running as well, so I went and got those strikes. And then sure enough, the inside got strikes. Like I'm trying to post it, and all of a sudden 2 seconds later, it spikes through 168. It's 162.50 in a flash. Goes all the way up to 166 and change. I locked some of the calls out for 100% to cover costs, and I'll just hold the rest into next week, worry free, right? Stress free. I mean, I would say stress free. I don't like to lose profits either, but at least now I have skin in the game, I guess you would say, for a melt up into that event next week. And it seems like a lot of the chip names were running. I guess what Jensen said something positive about demand with AI chips. I mean, that's like, yeah, okay. I mean, obviously there is. So I don't think that changes anything, but I guess there are reports of that. So I think it all both sets up well. And I think AMD 175 or so early next week, I think is not out of the realm of possibility, unless there's some crazy shenanigans with the market. Similar, I was looking at Dell calls as well, but Dell it does the same thing as well, similar to what Roku normally does. Runs out of the gate like everyone wants to pile in, thinks it's going to 120, and then it just sells off, and it hit lows back to 113.60 at 1 o'clock, and it's bouncing a little bit here. It's almost I want to see a reset. Maybe it goes down to 110 under that 50-day moving average for a minute, and then we get a nice viable bounce. I think that's it. Still looking for a position in SE. It's been right around 95 for pretty much the entire afternoon. I would love to see that reverse course and at least recoup the losses from yesterday. I think that's it, folks. But another, it's one of those. So I say I don't know if I put it on the watch, but sometimes not making a trade is a winning position, right? Because if you're just making a trade to make a trade, and you lose money on the trade. The trade you don't make is money you would have lost. So it's almost like you gain money, right? I mean, that's a weird way of looking at it, but one of the ways. I mean, you got to be able to control risk, and I mean, I trade options for the leverage, right? Small position can turn into big, but you also, you gotta. Sometimes it's tough to just stare at positions and some of the names and wanting to get a position just to trade. But I'm gonna wait till tomorrow at least for things to settle. Unless there was some crazy break of support. If we got through yesterday's lows on the SPY and maybe some acceleration, I don't know. And also in the back of my head, you have all those headlines I was talking about this morning, people talking about the lack of breadth in the market, right? That was the reason the market should have sold off last year and the year before and the start of this year, because Facebook, Meta, Apple, Amazon, Google, the Magnificent Seven and NVIDIA were driving the majority of the gains in the market. And now it's been the reverse for the last couple months and the market was still going higher. So in the back of my head, it's like, is it the Magnificent Seven weighing outside of Meta today on the markets, and the rest of the stocks are going to do well? I mean, that's a possibility in the coming weeks. Anyway, just things I'm thinking about as I stare at the screen, watching the market just chop around, driving me nuts. All right, let's have a great afternoon, folks. I'll be back on audio tomorrow for the last day of the week. Rock and roll.